Chapter 38 to 40, Heaven's Will. The guild house located in Yeoksamdong, Gangnam. It was a 5-story building that the Heaven's Will members could use at any time. In less than a year, Kim Young-woo had earned enough from the dungeon to buy a building in Gangnam. For some reason, today there were hundreds of people lining up outside the guild house of Heaven's Will. Awakened number 359. Awakened number 359, please come in. Several helpers dressed in yellow were directing the people in front of the building. The people in front showed a number to the guild helper and were allowed inside the building. Krasla looked at them with amazement and said, "This place is Heaven's Will, Master?" "That's right." I lightly nodded. I had described Heaven's Will to Krasla while descending the mountain. He was going to be staying here in the future, so he was a bit stunned. It was the first time I had seen so many people lined up outside the guild house. Are they all awakened? I used mind's eye to look at the line and found that all of them were awakened. It must be a recruitment. The personnel of the guild was increasing. Thanks to the safety zone, a stable core was formed and now they could raise the guild. Heaven's Will was a presence that couldn't be ignored in South Korea. It was natural to increase the manpower. Earth is a fairly funny place. The buildings aren't that high. Krasla expressed his admiration. He had been in this state since descending the mountain. Earth and the demon world were completely different worlds. Krasla had lived in the poor area of the demon world, so it was natural for him to be amazed. However, he wasn't overwhelmed by it. Besides, he was aware of things like science and technology, a zone of strong people. Krasla came from a place where the winners gobbled up everything. A warrior who was always tense found it a pleasure when they could relax. Actually, it was difficult to Krasla to experience an unprecedented tragedy in South Korea. This wasn't his home. Krasla's total stats equaled 362, and his strength was equivalent to an advanced of 3 creature. At this level, he was impervious to most modern weapons. I said to him, "This is unusually severe. At any rate, let's go." It wasn't an uncommon sight in Gangnam. I could see it in the future anyway, so there was no time to be surprised. I walked towards the entrance of the guild house. It would be funny if a member of the Heaven's Will raid group Devil Hunters needed to stand in line. "What is that?" "Don't interrupt." "Bastards, are your eyes filled with knots? Don't you see this line?" There was a hail of protests. The awakened cursed at him. "Master, what should I do?" Krasla frowned and asked me. It was a good thing. I thought he might have moved after hearing the harsh words. Asking my opinion meant that Krasla was aware of his position. A slave wasn't supposed to move without a command. Ignore it. I understand. Reacting was a terrible idea. It would just waste time. I was at the entrance when a yellow-dressed person blocked my path. "If you are interested in joining the guild, then line up." "Who are you?" "A member of Heaven's Will, Kim Chol-sun. If you don't line up, then you can't go inside." Kim Chol-sun. Who was this? I had never seen his face before. He must be a new member that joined while I was gone. "Randolph Brigzeal. I am the captain of the Heaven's Will raid group, Devil Hunters." There isn't a raid group with that name in Heaven's Will. "That's impossible. I have a spot and Yuane and Lee Jihai are members. There are no guild members with that name. I'm sorry, but can you listen to the instructors?" It was a strange twist. I had frequently left the guild. Of course, I was gone for more than a month this time, but for the raid group to be gone, it was a really troubling reaction. There was also Yu Eunhye and Lee Jihai. Strange. It was definitely odd. It would be normal if he never heard about the raid group, but he also didn't know Yu Eunhye and Lee Jihai's name. Kim Chol-sun's expression crumpled up. "Can you stop standing here? Do you know how long people have been lining up?" "Ah, fuck. Or are you a foreigner who doesn't speak Korean well?" "Randolph, what?" "Master, should I also ignore this?" Krasla asked. The magic earrings gave unnecessarily detailed translations so he could understand all the vulgar words being spoken. I thought for a moment and said, "Is Kim Young-woo here?" "No. Is the guild master your friend?" "He's not inside." "What does it matter if he is inside? You are really crazy." Kim Chol-sun grabbed my shoulder. I didn't budge despite his attempts to forcefully throw me. "Eh? What? Why aren't you moving?" He started doubting his own strength. His total stats barely passed 180, so of course I wouldn't even tremble. Bring me to Kim Yong-woo, or I will go find him myself. What's going on? Another yellow-dressed guild member spoke. He came over to Kim Chul-sun. Kim Chul-sun withdrew his hand from my shoulder and shrugged. No, this guy called the name of the guild master like he is a friend. The captain of the group Devil Hunters? Do we have such a raid group? Devil Hunters? Isn't the naming sense like that of a king's? Both of them are foreigners. One black and one is white. Handsome. Are they models? Perhaps they have the wrong building? They seemed to be ignoring my words. I tried to handle this quietly, but it couldn't be helped. I will go find him myself. I threw a glance towards Krasla. Krasla nodded and took out his spear holder. A long, red iron spear popped up. Kill then? Alive. Moderately breaking the body is okay. I understand. The guild members, including Kim Chul-sun, had absurd expressions on their faces. They had been selected to join the guild. Yet this person wanted to use a spear against them. Kim Chul-sun and the other guild members pulled out their own weapons. Aren't those just good words? You will be the ones chopped up in combat. Kim Chul-sun, who was holding his sword in a leisurely manner, laughed. The most outstanding new members had received a rare grade sword as a gift. This was a treasure with a very high cutting force. Naturally, he would look confident. This sword is familiar. It was similar to a sword that I sprinkled over the dungeon. In the end, it was a sword taken from my dungeon. It felt weird seeing him boast about it. I understand, Master. 5 seconds will be enough. Krasla took an attack posture with his spear. Oh, those dirty words. You will regret it. Before his words finished, Puhung, Keok! Kim Chul-sun was hit by the dull end of the spear and fell down like a frog. The remaining 2 guild members walked a similar path. 3 guild members were collapsed on the ground. Krasla said 5 seconds, but it took less than 5 seconds. A truly overwhelming sight. It had happened with hundreds of applicants watching. Master, their bones are too tender, so they fainted after I broke it. Should I continue? Krasla said, as he placed his leg on Kim Chul-sun's right arm. The force was different from a spear, so he could control it to break a bone, not take their lives. His actions were very cautious. I shook my head. That's okay. Let's go. Familiar faces started to be seen after entering the guild house. They were astonished when they saw me like I was a dead man who had returned alive. I'm being treated as a dead man. I organized their reactions in my head. It had been more than a month without any guild contact, so they seemed to think I had died. Of course, even the Devil Hunters raid group that I formed was disbanded, but it was still questionable where Yu Eun-hai and Lee Ji-hai were. I went to the elevator and pressed the button for the 5th floor. Just as the door was about to close, many guild members boarded. You are? Among them, a man turned towards me with his mouth wide open. I lightly greeted him. Your name was Kim Tae-won? It's been a while. I lightly greeted him. He was one of the 12 people that I cleared the 1st floor with, a moderately influential person in the guild. In addition, he also planned some hell training in the dungeon, so he was fairly popular. He closed his mouth and frowned. I thought you were dead? I threw a glance towards Kim Tae-won, who was going to the same floor as me. Then I answered with a smile. Who said that? A guild member saw you entering the dungeon. Stupid. Don't you know my skills? It is natural to think you were dead after entering the dungeon for more than a month. So the raid group Devil Hunters has been dismissed? Kim Tae-won's eyebrows rose. It seems like you are going to meet the guild master, but there is no room in this guild. There are many new people with good skills. I also have a rare rated skill. I can also deal with 2 orcs. A claim like he was showing off, handling 2 orcs. But Kim Tae-won's attitude was somehow awkward. I was puzzled and asked, is that something to celebrate? I don't want to hear those words. I'll be leaving now. Ding dong. Soon the elevator doors opened, 5th floor. The place where the guild members were resting could be seen. Kim Tae-won exited the elevator first. The others followed behind him. Master, should I sweep everything away? That's fine, I said to Krasla. I needed to know what the problem was first before solving it. I will meet the guildmaster. I would make a detailed assessment after hearing the story. I didn't think that Kim Yong-woo would dismiss my raid group. Moments ago, Kim Tae-won had went off with the other guild members. In their eyes, my raid was an eyesore. Kim Yong-woo would have been helpless after I was away for a month or so. I could understand that much. On the contrary, I didn't think he needed to be punished. By the way, the piercing gazes that came the moment the elevator opened. I turned and looked at them. The fifth floor was a multi-purpose room with many paintings. Half the people had familiar faces, while the other half was unfamiliar. The personnel had significantly increased over the last month. Most of the existing guild members were paying attention to me. They weren't friendly. I noticed that some were staring at Krasla, and I like we were enemies. Kim Tae-won had frowned, but he hadn't looked at me like an enemy. Then, advice. Be careful of others, since they would also grow, was the meaning behind his words. I had thought his attitude was unnatural. There was no reason to suddenly boast of the new personnel and his rare skill. I simply misjudged it as the logic of a strong man. In the end, it turned out like this. Ha! Laughter burst out. A unique situation. This was the fifth floor, a place that was like a picture gallery, but now it looked different from before. They were divided into several groups, a sight that was definitely discrimination. Factions. I came up with the word. At any rate, a lot of changes had occurred in a month. I walked forward while ignoring them. The guild master's office was on the central left. I stood in front of the door and said to Krasla, "Wait here." "I understand, master." Rattle. I opened the door and saw Kim Yong-woo wearing glasses while looking through some paperwork. "Who?" "I told no one to come for a while. It's me." Kim Yong-woo flinched as he heard my voice and turned towards me. He gave a cry of "Heok" and fell out of his chair. After a few moments, Kim Yong-woo sat back at his desk as he took his glasses off and rubbed his tired eyes. "I've been awake for 3 days and 3 nights, so I must be dreaming. I heard that raid group Devil Hunters was disbanded." Kim Yong-woo was shocked as he heard that name. You are really Randolph Nim? Is there a fake Randolph?" Oh my God, thank God." Kim Yong-woo trembled. He seemed like someone who was meeting a real god and didn't know what to do. "I want to know why the raid group was disbanded." I cut to the chase, and Kim Yong-woo swallowed his saliva at the question. "Everybody knew that Master Nim had died. Oh, of course, I didn't think that. Why is my death the cause of the raid group being disbanded?" Kim Yong-woo had nothing to hide, so he naturally said, "No, that's not it. It is a misconception. The raid group wasn't disbanded. It's just, should I say it is in a temporarily postponed state?" "Postponed state?" "Yes, that's correct. 20 days ago, problems started to emerge as the guild expanded. It was pointed out that too much preferential treatment was given to devil hunters." "Go on." Kim Yong-woo licked his lips and started to tell a long story. "At first I ignored it. There were protests, but my heart considered it an easy matter. But the flames continued to spread. It became a witch hunt. They argued that it was ridiculous to keep a raid group that only had 3 members. Kim Yong-woo wiped the sweat off his forehead and continued. "At the time, I was busying expanding the members and occupying the safety zones. I misjudged and didn't take care of it properly. I thought I could resolve it when Master Nim came back. But I didn't come back. I was busy solving the problem of Krasla and Chrisley and was gone for more than a month. This incident happened in the meantime," Kim Yong-woo said with a gloomy face. "Yes, more time passed. The atmosphere became worse for every new person that came. The new and existing guild members started speaking up. There are the people that I established the guild with. They decided to get directly involved with the operation of the guild." Kim Yong-woo shrugged. "It is all my fault. The guild has become bigger and gathered more attention. I never imagined that guild politics would occur, so I have become useless. Now I live my life buried in a pile of paperwork. Really, I'm really sorry." Kim Yong-woo bowed deeply, a gesture that wasn't false. He himself admitted that he didn't have an academic background. He had risen to the position of a guild master, but this was the first time he had operated a guild. It became noisy, and the guild split into factions. It was too late once he noticed it. Without realizing it, guild politics had occurred, and his power as a guild master weakened. The guild house and guild was established by Kim Yong-woo, but it was jointly established and funded with other people. It was a reasonable decision. Any guild would have the desire to grow. At first, there was a harmonious atmosphere. A few members joined for the fellowship, but there was a big meaning placed on the formation of raid groups. But Heaven's Will had grabbed the tile of Best Guild in South Korea. Many greedy people desired to touch it. Perhaps that was how Kim Yong-woo lost his title of Guild Master in my previous life. I could imagine what would happen if this situation continued. I organized my thoughts for a moment before saying, Yoonhan Lee Jahai? Kim Yong-woo explained this as well. Due to the atmosphere, they were sent back home. Their withdrawal is also pending, untangling both situations, but I can do it now that Master Nim has returned. Do so. Isn't there a problem remaining in the guild? Huh? Those who created the factions, they are the cause of all this dissonance. That's right. It was mortifying but true. Kim Yong-woo's voice trembled. I said flatly, announce that the raid group Devil Hunters has returned. Write a list of those who will cause problems and hand them to me. Kim Yong-woo immediately looked at me. He was trying to figure out the meaning of my words. Kim Yong-woo had seen me hunt the Dark Warrior. He knew that my skills transcended dealing with 2 orcs. But I wasn't the type to help someone. Those with strength had declared neutrality. I had the attitude of not wanting to get involved in complicated matters. Kim Yong-woo nodded. I understand. What is the format of the new staff recruitment? There was nothing to hide. Kim Yong-woo responded fairly easily. An audition format. The Awakened had fully settled into society, so I thought it wouldn't be bad to create an entertainment program, something like a common music audition program. But why? Kim Yong-woo asked why I was curious about the audition. It wouldn't be bad to influence the people who would join the guild. Expansion of the personnel led to the formation of factions. Of course, their gazes would be focused on the audition. I want to become a special examiner. You want to participate in the audition as a judge? Is that impossible? Kim Yong-woo shook his head. No, I can add you at my discretion. Then I guess there isn't a problem. I smirked. It wouldn't be a bad surprise. Originally, the spacious hall on the 2nd floor belonged to the Devil Hunters. It was now decorated and used for the audition. The 5 judges sitting on a white table were like celebrities in Heaven's Will. This was being shown on TV, so the hopefuls had a strong desire to be recruited. Number 362, what skills do you have? One of the examiners asked the large man wearing a name tag with 362 on it. Normal grade long jump, exceptional normal increase eyesight. I am faster than any creature. It's okay. Can you show us the long jump? Yes, it is possible. Try it. Number 362 took a deep breath. The man jumped approximately 6 meters with a large smile. It was good enough, but the expressions of the judges didn't seem pleased. Let's test your skill. Increase eyesight. Can you see these letters? The judge wrote down very small letters. It couldn't be seen unless the person was very close. Number 362 opened his mouth with a grumpy expression. It isn't visible. I understand. By the way, your physical stats seem a little low. The skills can't be utilized properly. Were you lying when you created your stats table? No. I will believe you. Then please wait for a little bit. The 5 judges started to write down their scores. The scoring determined who would enter. Skill utilization, reliability, stats, and other factors were looked at in order to give a score out of 100. Those with an excellent grade would enter the 2nd test. If they fought against a goblin or kobold and won, then they would pass. Those that gave a good impression would be drawn into the group of one of the 5 judges. But the number 33662, Awakened, didn't need to worry about that. Next is number 363. You have a title? Foul-mouthed person? Number 363 was also a man. He scratched his head and muttered, "Ha, it turns out that I often curse. Well, it is great that you have a title. The skills are also unusual. Loud singing, low morale. What are the effects? If I yell loudly or swear at them, then they will flinch. Can I show you? It will affect people? The effect depends on your intelligence. In return, a lot of people will cry. I'm begging you to keep the level weak. There were many people in this hall. If he cursed, then everyone here might suffer mentally." Number 363 cleared his throat. "Hey, these scum-like bastards should fuck off. Ho. It lasted a few seconds. Great confidence. The eyes of everyone, including number 363, turned towards the entrance. A pale man was standing next to the guildmaster, Kim Yong-woo. The man who gave a mocking laugh was handsome. The judges were watching the man more than the guildmaster. Rather, the guildmater didn't even enter their eyes. At the same time, their eyes were filled with amazement. It was like they were meeting a ghost. That jerk? Number 363 frowned. He had seen that guy at the entrance. He had seen it. Number 363 had roughly cursed and insulted him. The man with black skin had handled 3 guild members, and now the person accompanying him was with the guild master. That bastard? What is it? Number 363's blood quickly cooled. The atmosphere instantly changed as Kim Yong-woo and I entered. It felt like cold water had been poured on them. I laughed as I received the attention of the 5 judges and dozens of applicants, especially the judges. They were individuals of Heaven's Will that had appeared on TV several times. Looking at their reaction, they didn't seem to welcome my appearance. The judges received this assignment because they had influence. Was this the so-called political arena? It was obvious that Kim Yong-woo's presence in the guild was less than I expected. The guild master of Heaven's Will, Kim Yong-woo. I came, so why are you so panicked? Kim Yong-woo cleared his throat a few times before saying, Guildmaster? Wah, it is really Kim Yong-woo. It is the first time I'm really seeing him. Unlike the judges, the participants looked at Kim Yong-woo like they saw a miracle. Although his position had diminished in the guild, he was still the guildmaster of Heaven's Will, currently one of the most famous people in South Korea. Then Kim Yong-woo introduced me. Thank you for your welcome. But I am not the hero of today. The main character is this man right here. He is the leader of the raid group Devil Hunters, Randolph Briggseel Nim. Kim Yong-woo reached out to me as he spoke. He was one of the 12 members who cleared the first clear and had the most achievements. The story of him fighting 2 orcs alone is famous throughout the guild. That is enough for him to qualify as a special judge. The faces of the judges changed dramatically. It was evidence of their recent influence in the guild, and it would continue to have an impact afterwards. The new members would remember and inevitably follow one of the judges. Now a new person was going to sit in that position. In addition, he was the leader of the raid group Devil Hunters. It was ridiculous. Moreover, the dormant Devil Hunters had been directly mentioned by the guild master. It was a formal announcement that he was resurrecting it. The captain, who was thought dead, had returned, but they hadn't thought it was possible due to the current situation of the guild. It didn't matter how strong the captain was. The guildmaster was already wounded. It would be different a month ago, but now he was a stranded boat. However, Kim Yong-woo just laughed, and he restored the atmosphere. In other words, Devil Hunters was Kim Yong-woo's last card. After a few months, he would have been deprived of his guild master seat at the General Assembly. Until now, he hadn't resisted. This matter was just decided today, and wouldn't an objective assessment proceed better with 6 people instead of 5? The faces of the judges cracked. Are you saying that we are unable to evaluate properly, Guildmaster? You are good, but isn't the captain of Devil Hunters influential? He has sufficient qualifications. That is just a story. The judges' expressions were filled with ridicule. I had participated in the raid to clear the first floor. Now, people had showed up with 1 or 2 rare skills, so it was nonsense to judge people based on the past. The captain and members of Devil Hunters would be free from the guild's influence. This wouldn't benefit the guild. Actually, a lot of people thought that Devil Hunters was favored due to the captain have a rare grade skill. Kim Yong-woo sneaked a glance at me. I nodded, and he gave a dark smile. The judges who didn't participate in the raid of the first floor might not understand. Okay, then let's do this. First, Randolph will have the right to be a special judge. Then I will arrange a place to check the qualifications. First, Randolph will have the right to be a special judge. Then I will arrange a place to check the qualifications. A place? Many members were dead set against Devil Hunters. The majority of guild members had a backlash against the name. It was worth a listen. A tournament? A raid group composed of 8 people with spar with each other. That place will be used to determine whether Devil Hunters disappears or not. In contrast, if they win, then Devil Hunters will be a raid group given preferential treatment. This will also solve the ranking issue dividing the group. So what do you think? A potentially great work. This was Kim Yong-woo's plan. The guild was divided, so this was an attempt to manage it. I noticed Kim Yong-woo's intentions. The introduction of rankings, his head seemed to work quite well. If I won, then the power would tilt towards Kim Yong-woo. This was a golden chance to solidify his position. The current balance between the factions would have no choice but to fall. It was based on an intuitive measure of my strength, a gamble based on my victory. It isn't even a gamble, I shrugged. It would be enough if the tournament was a solo exhibition. It was organized for 8 people, but they would just be background noise. Kim Yong-woo calculated that I could defeat 8 people. He was convinced, but he underestimated me. I will put together a temporary crew here. And by participating as a judge, I could gather the remaining members. I would pull in some new hires of the guild. If I added Lee Jae, Yoo Eun-hae, and Krasla, there were 4 people. But Krasla was in a different class. I didn't need to add more people after Krasla. I nodded my head, but it was good that he thought of such a thing in a short amount of time. It would be good if Kim Yong-woo was a little more intimidating, but in fact, Kim Yong-woo lacked social skills. It was the reason why his side became like this. It was a funny thing, but I was also to blame. "Will you make a formal announcement?" one of the judges asked, and Kim Yong-woo replied positively. "Of course, the details will be determined in an emergency meeting tomorrow. I'll just tell you in advance. Of course, this story might not matter to some people. Each of the 5 judges were influential. If they agreed, then the entire guild would. Okay, I accept. There are no objections. All 5 judges accepted the offer. Then Kim Yong-woo formally introduced me again. The special judge, Captain of Devil Hunters Randolph Briggseel Nim. Now let's welcome him with applause. Clap, clap, clap. Kim Yong-woo clapped first, and the judges reluctantly followed. The prospective recruits had watched dumbly, but they sensed the atmosphere and clapped. "I am Randolph Briggseel. Thank you." My first words were very heavy. Number 363. A man with a title about cursing. I sat in a chair and used mind's eye. Name, Kim Chun-won. Occupation, hero, bard. Title, foul-mouthed person, R. Magic power, force, forts. Stats, strength 24, intelligence 33, agility, Gemini 30, magic power 38, plus 4. Potential, 166, 325. Uniqueness, none. Skill, loud singing, low morale, XN. Is the low morale skill related to cursing? Number 363, Kim Chun-won nodded with surprise. Yes. Yes, that's correct. This is a skill. I never intended to swear. And what is the loud singing skill? Song. It seemed to be related to the bard occupation. Try it out for me. I was the only one who paid attention to him. The other judges already had no expectations for Kim Chun-won. Kim Chun-won sensed that the atmosphere was good and his confidence increased. Soul under the sky, the sky. My dream came closer. Kekta! The outcome was determined the moment I heard his voice. The voice was so loud that some people even blocked their ears. The 5 judges sighed or rubbed their foreheads. Nothing could be seen from my facial expressions. Scoring began, and I made an assessment of Kim Chun-won. An assessment of skills, skill utilization, reliability, stats, and confidence. I gave satisfactory points in all areas. It was a ridiculous and wildly subjective scorecard. If it wasn't for me, then number 363 might have failed. But I didn't mind. Rather, that's what I hoped for. I would only give good points to those about to fail. If they passed due to my scores, then they would follow me. Anyway, the number 8 was just a pretext. I only needed rough members. Frankly, just having Krasla was enough. There was no need to bother with anyone else. This has its own fun. Scoring human beings. I thought it was quite an interesting entertainment. I continued to give extremely subjective scores. A piece of paper posted on the bulletin board on the first floor of Heaven's Will. Despite how busy they were, the words were enough to capture the attention of all guild members. It was the flyer associated with the competition. Tournament name, Heaven's Will. A meeting that would take place in exactly 1 month in order to determine the fate of members of Heaven's Will. The qualifications and number of participants, preferences given to the winners, and the introduction of rankings were all written on that sheet. It was planned after an impromptu meeting, but it flowed smoothly. Everyone who attended the audition already knew about "if" from Kim Yong-woo's words. It was passed down through the 5 judges. It was no wonder that the plan passed. The people in the guild wanted to show off their skills. The dungeon was unable to fill this thirst. This was an opportunity to them. Those who believed their skills were undervalued, new guild members, or those who wanted to raise their position in the guild. Furthermore, the eyesore that was the Devil Hunters would participate. Approximately 1 week passed. The tournament of the Heaven's Will Guild was a hot story. There was an instant reaction to the post. 8 people? Then we have the strongest group, all the existing members. This time, there are 2 new hires with terrible skills. This is not a game. Leader Kim Tae-wan, will you participate? Didn't we follow you through the hell training? And none of them expected Devil Hunters to succeed. Krasla might have defeated 3 members at the entrance, but apart from him and Randolph, the remaining 6 were trash. They wouldn't be able to do anything against the Awakened with rare grade skills. Those 6 trash weren't even calculated in the first place. It was unthinkable that they couldn't defeat such a configuration.